Hey everybody, welcome to this iConversations. Today is the 10th of December, 2024, and we are joined by, again, not one, not two, not three, but four awesome Icon agents. And we're going to introduce them in just a minute. These sessions are designed to be a casual conversation with people that are achieving at a high level, and just walking through their thoughts on whatever is happening in their market at the moment. In this particular subject, we're going to be talking about getting ready for 2025, the top five things to do. So, Icon agents, welcome to iConversations.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
We're going to go ahead and do some introductions as EXP continues to grow. A lot of people won't know who you are, where you're from, that kind of thing. So, Dee, we'll start with you. Just give us a little bit of a snippet, how long you've been in real estate, where you're currently selling, and help us get to know you a little bit more.
Okay, I'm based in Mackay, and I have been for all the time I've been selling, which is getting close to 15 years now. Through our EXP model, I'm also sort of opening up another window of opportunity or testing it because I'm also um, in a position to be able to sell in Victoria. So I've got a new agent down there, and there's a little bit of a trial thing going on. So we'll see where that goes. Yeah, so apart from that, it's been busy.
And you're off to the UK soon.
I am for 4 weeks.
How good is that? How good is that? James Stacey, tell us a little bit about yourself, mate.
So sell in Port Lincoln, South Australia, 600 k's west of Adelaide. Um, Average sale price close to 500 for me. Median in the area is about 450. And yeah, I've been selling for 12 years in Port Lincoln, been with EXP coming up 3 years next month.
That's amazing. 3 years already. Fantastic.
Mm.
Lucky us. And Peter Forbes, what about yourself?
Yes, I work out of Dalby, which is 250 k's west of Brisbane. Yeah, I've been doing this for 16 years now. EXP, I think I'm in my fifth year, I think. So yeah, that's me. I've got a pretty big rent roll these days that I'm part of as well. But yeah, my marketplace average sales probably around 400,000 now, which I can't believe I'm saying because not long ago it was about 220,000. So
That's
yeah,
right.
so
When we
things have been
when we
going very
first
well.
started chatting, it was sub 300 for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. And Lee Martinuzzi, tell
G'day,
us about
yeah.
yourself.
Up here in on the Sunshine Coast, so I sort of dominate a little hinterland community called Palmwoods and a couple of the surrounding suburbs. Looking to expand. The average price here is about $870,000 now, and it seems to be climbing still, which is good, or maybe not so good for some. And been with EXP, I think I'm coming up to my fifth year, starting February next year. So 4 years with EXP and a couple of years with a boutique agency up here. And prior to that, I did have 3 years experience down the Gold Coast as well.
Yep. Okay, great. So we've got a lot of experience, a lot of thoughts and whatnot going into this particular session. What I might get to do is our topic is the top five things that you would be doing looking forward into 2025. What I might do is we just get a little bit of a market recap in your area and maybe a couple of the things that you are focused on as we move into 2025. We'll start with you, Dee. We'll work our way around Australia. We've got three Queensland agents today, so it's fantastic. We're going to get a great sphere of what's happening in Queensland. But Dee, what's happening in your marketplace? Is it busy? Is
Um,
it not busy? Or where is
hot,
it?
hot, hot.
Yeah.
Um, Prices exceeding agents and homeowners' expectations. Demand is still good. Every week I have regulars contacting me, have I got anything new coming on, and so forth. So it's really opened up a different experience for me. It's been quite interesting because we've had our peaks when I first started nearly 15 years ago. We had a mini boom. I was quite raw in real estate then, and I had no idea what Mackay really did when I ended up here, and then quickly learnt. But then we had our 7-year downturn, which was pretty much, we're sort of a little bit behind what WA's done, I guess. But I've always felt, and I remember being told that Mackay's in a bubble. So get ready for it. When everything else changes elsewhere, we start or in reverse.
Yeah.
So it's really great for many who paid high end, a lot of people shifting property, but the rental returns are so good. And talking with investors and buyers agents, it's a great opportunity to learn a lot more what's happening out there. And so it seems like Townsville was way behind Mackay, I felt, probably 12 months ago, where it's just gone ballistic. But the rental yields in Mackay are more favorable. So the fact that the prices have gone up in Townsville, everyone's moved across to Mackay, and they're coming across from WA, Rob, as
They
well.
certainly are. The investor market here, which was going really hot for the last 18 months, has certainly slowed down
Yeah.
by about 85%.
So
They're
yeah, so
all saying we're going to Queensland.
yeah. So I better not stay on holiday too long. So that's a bit for me because I will be stopping earlier, but airport time, I especially chose a flight that leaves 2 in the morning, so I can have pop-up office for 5 hours just catching up.
Yeah.
So for me and this topic, is interesting because the stock is selling so quickly. So, and I seem to have a thing, whether I do any prospecting or not, because I'm so busy selling, I don't do a lot of prospecting. It comes through. I'm grateful for my phone and social media, but you always think, oh, you could be selling more.
Yeah.
But physically, I can't be selling more. So I've got about 7 on the board. There could be one that I can sneak in off market before I leave. So for me, without a PA and doing everything myself, that is plenty to keep me going.
Yeah.
With it. But then you think for the new year. So I have a couple locked in, but not a huge amount. And then you get that feeling like, oh gosh, I don't have much,
Yeah.
going forward, and it needs to build up momentum. And I guess it always takes me place. I've survived 15 years like this, so I'm sure, it'll all come together. So really on the first point that I put down is reviewing what has happened this year, if there was a pattern or anything, but it's been changed. So for me, it was really just assessing and reviewing what I did do, what worked, what didn't. Did I waste my time unnecessarily in areas, and kind of avoid that moving forward? And then, can I be implementing or doing other things, systems, which I could, to make me operate more efficiently? So for me, I guess number one has been a review and assessing where I'm putting my energy, and could I have done anything better or differently,
I think
or what
that's
not to do.
I think that's a really great tip. And so many agents, somebody might say, I've been in real estate for 20 years. Have they been progressing in those 20 years, or are they just doing the same year over and over and over, and without taking that review time to see what's working, what's happening in the market, those kind of things.
Yeah, it's just that reboot, I guess, foundation, and then work your way out.
Yeah, cool. Did you want to share one more with us, and then we'll pop over to somebody else? One of the things that you're thinking to do?
Well, with the reviewing, it was also the pipeline contacts, because there's a lot out there, but it's really okay. So who might be, you might remember or go through your database who was thinking about selling now. But for me, it's really I've sort of put down contacting people I've had some connection with.
Yeah.
And touching base, and just even out of interest and conversation, updating them on what the market is actually doing.
Yep.
And then starting from there, I guess, for me.
Awesome. That's great. Moving down Queensland, we'll come to you, Lee. What's happening in your marketplace, and then a couple of things that you're thinking about as you move into 2025.
Yeah, sure. It's been a whirlwind wrap to the year, to be honest, because I just got back from my trip to Miami, which was fantastic, eye-opening, lots of content shared there, and then come back to a business where you sort of stress and try and get back on top of things, get new listings. I have found the market here a bit slower. I think it's still quite buoyant and quite positive, to be honest, for homeowners. But I feel that homeowners are still nudging their prices up, and buyers are doing the opposite. They're sort of going, okay, I'm going to be a bit more cautious. Certainly, A-grade properties at price well seem to be selling pretty quick, but the average time on the market has extended. But the one thing that is still common is that there's a shortage of stock available, hence why that price is keeping buoyant, and owners are sort of, you know what, I can hold on. So that's what I'm really experiencing here.
That's what we would call a shoulder season in the market. So you're changing from one market to another, maybe, and then there's that shoulder season as you're doing that, and the buyers are going, no, we're not playing that game anymore, and then the seller's like, we can wait forever, and then eventually one of those things gives. Like somebody needs to sell and somebody needs a house. So
yeah, and it's interesting because I've noticed the last couple of weeks, like the buyer numbers have increased a little bit as well.
Right.
So there's still demand there, and we're getting offers in. We just had 2 offers over the weekend on the property. That's pretty good for the area. Excuse me, my phone's just ringing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's hard to know where the market's going to go. And I look at the market often, and I look at that RBA cash rate, and I think, well, if they drop that early next year, what's that going to do? And depending on who you talk to, some people say, I think Sunshine Coast is going to boom over the next 5 years because it is a lifestyle destination close to the busiest capital in Queensland. So there could be that factor, or it could do the opposite as well. So it's hard to know where it's going to go. But I think one of the quotes or lines that I love to just remind myself, and Dee sort of touched on this, is trust the process. I get concerned, like Dee as well, where I go, shit, there's not many listings here. What am I doing for next year? How can I set myself up to have a bang start for January, February? Because I think if you have a really good amount of listings come on in the early in the year, it helps you get that momentum for the whole year. So that's really my focus at the moment. But again, I just remind myself, trust in the process, keep doing the activities that matter, and the results will look after themselves. So that's a big thing for me. I did write down a couple of notes here as well.
Yep.
Review, I think, is really important, and I've been doing a shitload of that recently. And a couple of things that I love, and these just are thoughts that I'll share with you guys because I think they're really, really good points. Review the year. What worked well? What didn't work well? What should I keep doing? What should I stop? Now, I had a meeting with my accountant yesterday as well. So I look back over the year as it relates to past years as well and look at the performance and expenses and all that and top line. And if I look at those things, it really helps me identify, okay, what things, because it's easy in this business to go for the shiny, bright stars and, all the fluff, because we get bombarded with it every day,
That's right.
Hey, grab this call center, get this new app and do this.
Yeah.
So part of that review is then the planning stage. And it's really, for me, is creating really solid systems and processes. I've sort of grown my team a little bit. So systems and processes are important for the team, whilst I can generally remember everything that needs to be done. When you rely on a team, it's a bit of a different thing. So we're working hard to create systems and processes. And in my review, I want to go back to the basics next year, because that's what's been missing. There's been a lot on the plate and a lot of growth activities, and there's big things happening for my business next year, which I'm excited about. But that comes down to that review. So what worked well, what didn't work, what should I keep doing, and what should I stop? And that relates to your personal life as well. And you can do this review weekly. You can do it daily if you want. But certainly a great time of the year to be doing this as well.
Absolutely. And can I just drill down slightly? When you say for Lee Martinuzzi or your team, I want to get back to basics, because we do hear that sometimes in real estate. What does that mean for you?
For me, it's doing the calls. I've had a challenging year, and the calls certainly have waned for my year. I've also had a year of growth where I've put on a couple of team members. So I've got an administration assistant that started about 4 to 6 months ago. I've got a marketing specialist that has just started last week. I've got an agent who's a new agent that I'm training with as well. So I've got a lot of team members. So that takes its toll in training and time.
Yeah.
So when I look at it, I go, well, what have I been missing? And it's really those core blocks, which I'm great at and I love doing. So going back to basics means doing that and avoiding, we're just reviewing the process at the moment. What part of our system and processes is really just a time suck, and it actually doesn't lead to a result. So if you look at the 80-20 principle,
yep,
80% of what you do brings you 20% of the results, 20% bring you 80% of the results.
Yep.
So what is that 20%? That's the basics. So let's focus on the 20% that bring in most results, and let's just push the other stuff to the side. It's nice, but maybe not necessary. And
And
that
in
comes
and in
in the
your
review.
business model, you really got a lot of traction from following that Ricky Carruth type scripting where you're calling into your communities, you're building those relationships over the phone and then networking to them.
Yeah, yeah. Well, my idea is I went through a bit of a burnout, I suppose.
Yeah.
Personal circumstances in my life over the last couple of years have had impact on me, and it's gradual, but it's drained the energy.
Yeah.
So I think you look at that, and part of my strategy this year, and I hired a coach to help me with this, is to find more balance in life, so I could balance that out. And a part of that is that yes, I love calls, but when you're doing calls for 3 hours a day and then all the admin, you do run out of time, and that leads to you working long hours. So I'm putting a team in place so I can have the balance, have them do the stuff that maybe I'm not the best at doing, or maybe I just don't like doing it,
Yeah.
and focus on the stuff that I can do comfortably without that level of pressure that shit, I've got to do this and I've got to do this. It just takes the edge off. So I still want to move forward in 2025 with that idea of balance in lifestyle, but with the goal to increase the top line as well.
Yeah. You've
So I
got to
think,
take that time to get those big rocks sorted, like Stephen Covey talks about the big rocks, the 4, 5, 6 big things in your world. Get those penciled in first, then you can add all the other bits and pieces in. So like what you're talking about, personal time, business time, all that. It's good.
yeah, and I think the other part of the review that I think is really important for all of us is to identify your values. And if you've never sat down and actually identified your values, it sounds woo-woo and all that sort of stuff, but it's a brilliant session to do, to really sit down and go, what do I value? What's most important to me? And how do I want to design my life around those values? In life, we have this model, which is typically have, do, be, right? And you've probably heard of this before. So you go, what do I want? I want to earn $1 million commission. So I'm going to do this, 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 and this, and then I'll be a certain way. And what generally happens, and you can look around, there's plenty of successful people in life that have done this, and they're old, miserable, maybe rich, but just unhappy, unhealthy, whatever it might be. So when you're planning for your next year, you want to really look at your values and really look at how you want to be. You're a human being, so how you want to be is most important. And then structure your calendar and your task list around that. So if you want a certain lifestyle where you start in the office at 9 o'clock and finish at 5, well, you can do that and you can have quite a bit of success. But you need to do the activities that matter. So know how you want to be first based on your values, and then you can structure the activities that will help you do that. And that might be, I'm actually going to get up every morning and go for a paddleboard around the ocean. And I don't care, but that's important to me, so I'm going to do that. Because you'll find in life, if you can do the things that actually align with your values, you're going to be more comfortable, you're not going to burn out, and you'll probably still have the same level of success you otherwise would have. So I think that's really important. And the final part is just the planning and process, which I sort of touched on, systems and processes, back to basics. We're working on our 2025 marketing plan as well. And I think the final bit of advice is use the festive season. I'm going to be working through it, but I'm also going to have some downtime where I'm really going to just take my time to think, reflect, and spend a bit of time with the loved ones.
Yeah, I think that's really, really important. Real estate is here to fuel our lives, not our lives here to fuel real estate. And I keep saying that to agents. They don't believe me, but I keep saying it anyway.
Well, it's important. It's a message that needs to be, continue to go on.
That's it. Absolutely. Peter Forbes, how are you, mate? What's happening in your marketplace? What's the vibe? And then maybe a couple things that you're thinking about as we move forward to 2025.
So my marketplace is it's still very strong. There's things going on, and there's actually quite a few new agents running around doing good things and selling lots of properties. I've taken my usual approach and cruising around and continuing to sell. So I'm very happy with how things have gone the last couple of years. And the next year looks like it's going to be much of the same. It looks pretty good for our area. I've really hit the brakes on things the last couple of weeks. I want to have a holiday, so we're going away next week. So I've turned off all my text messaging. I've turned off all my emails. I'm just trying to clean things up, tidy it up, so I can have some time away.
Yeah. Yeah.
that's what I'm working on at the moment. But yes, I've been doing a lot of thinking about what happens next year, and I think Lee's pretty well summed up what's important there. He's focusing on the calls, and I think going back to basics, I think is where I'll be heading next year. Um, I've thought about doing a lot of social media stuff and again, but you know what? I don't want to do it. I don't think it's that been that beneficial to me in the last few years. So I'm going to go back to the phones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a long list of people I've done price estimates and sales appraisals over the last couple of years that I think will be ready to go next year. So I'm going to be ready to attack that. That is my sole focus for next year.
I think what you just said there, Pete, is that I don't want to do it. That little phrase is so powerful, and it demonstrates maturity and wisdom, because your natural energy just pushes you through to the things that you like doing. Um,
Yeah.
and what you don't want to do, you just get resistant, even at a subconscious level, you're just like, this sucks. I don't want to do this.
Yeah, I think social media is really it's got me a bit thinking I don't want to do it anymore this year. I've had a lot of negativity around that.
Yeah,
A
yeah,
lot of my posts, I'm getting a lot of, I don't know if it's our area or I think it's changed a lot. And yeah, I'm reading some of the comments and I'm like, wow, okay.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm sort of gonna. Well, yeah, there's someone in our office that can do that. I'll just send them the
Yeah, that's
new listings that come up.
yeah,
They can whack those on, but I'll focus on what I'm good at, and that's talking to mums and dads about selling and buying and
yeah. Love
yeah,
it. Love
yeah,
it. I love it. And I love the fact that you're mature enough in the industry to realize you don't have to be all things to all people.
yeah,
You can just pick your ideal clients and then work with them.
yeah. That's right.
Yeah. No,
I'm
that's
old and angry dinosaur. That's what I'm turning into.
well, that's good. Maybe that can be your new social media handle, Old and Angry Dinosaur.
Yeah.
James Stacy, what about you, mate? What's
Sell
happening
with
you what's
sell
happening
with
in
sell with old and angry.
oh, yeah, that's right. When you've tried the rest, try the best, the Old and Angry Dinosaur.
That's what my kids call me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
What's happening in your marketplace?
so Port Lincoln is probably it's still a bit of a seller's market, but it has certainly slowed down. Regional real estate, I think, has slowed down in South Australia. Adelaide market still seems to be booming, but yeah, the guys in Adelaide are certainly reporting lower numbers through open homes and lower offers, and probably not the same buoyancy from the buyers coming in with their offers either. So I think people are just a bit more cautious with what's happening around the world. But yeah, I think like for me, embracing there's been a shift in my market to a lot of investor, and I think Dee mentioned buyers agents as well. I think we need to embrace buyers agents dealing with some of our buyers and just work with them as best as possible. I think I've done, I would say, 15 sales in the last 3 months, and 10 of them have probably been to buyers agents. So dealing directly with just networking with buyers agents and
Yeah.
selling off market. So that's completely shifted because at the start of the year I would put absolutely everything to market. And the shift in my market had been that everything went to market because that's where the best price came, and then all of a sudden these buyers agents were paying better money than what some of my local buyers were willing to pay. So now I'm floating my properties with those buyers agents as well. So and they're all investor driven, buying on yields, return on investment. What can they get? And I think the drive for my market is you can still buy and get a 5.5%, 6% yield on a sub $500,000 property. And I think a lot of mum and dad investors want to spend 500K or less on property rather than investing now, in some of these other markets where you've got to spend 800-900 grand just to get a pretty standard 3-4 bedroom home. And the yields just aren't there either, and the current interest rates. So yeah, that's what I'm finding anyway. So my investors are coming from all over Australia at the moment, not just one particular part of Australia, but all over.
Yeah, and I think that's reflected in what Dee's seen as well, that houses that were 400 then, have gone to 600 in a relatively short period of time, but the rents are good, so that's good.
It's
Um,
what's driven it, and the gap. My market used to have a big gap of what you could get for 400 compared to 500. Now I'm getting like they're almost the same property, and you're selling properties that what should there should be a bigger gap, but there's just not based on the return on investment that investors are getting for them. Because my rents do, tap out here about 550 a week. That seems to
yeah.
be what people are willing to, rent properties for. And whether it's a 4 bedroom home or a 3 bedroom home, whether it's got 1 bathroom, 2 bathrooms, whether it's got a single garage or double garage, they're still willing to pay that sort of rent for it or around that rent for it. And therefore, what people are willing to buy those properties for are pretty identical, whether it's a 1 garage, 2 garage, 1 bathroom, 2 bathroom home. So it's always interesting. But yeah, for me, like moving, I've always been a huge fan of not bookending a year. There's no point, and you're always here. It's just human nature to say, I'm going to start the gym in 2025. I'm going to start doing something different in 2025. Like, just start now. Don't wait till January to start it. If you're going to start prospecting and calling, don't wait till after Christmas to do it. Like, start it now. Get some, get some of those phone calls in, and because naturally we all go, the banks are closed, or on skeleton staff. The solicitors are on skeleton staff, so not a lot happens this time of year. So you're going to be quieter over Christmas naturally. So don't just pull the pin all together and stop. And that's my biggest advice. Don't bookend the year just because the calendar tells you to. Just continue. Just keep working through. I know people take holidays and whatnot as well, but yeah, especially if you're not taking holidays this year, just start whatever you think you're going to start doing in 2025. Start it today. Don't wait. Don't wait till Monday. Don't start it. Just start it.
I was recounting a story to one of my agents recently where I was out letterboxing between Christmas and New Year one year, thinking I'm an idiot, like everyone's, and yeah, I got a call, listed the property, sold at the first home open that we had the first week of January. So
There will
yeah,
be a lot of agents waiting till next year to start letterbox dropping and door knocking and phone calls because that's what everyone starts. So get in before them in your market and start it now. Don't wait because then you're
yeah.
just going to be one of those other agents that's calling because everyone will start doing that in January. Don't, you know. And what the other guys said as well, for me, like I've already gone back to basics and some of the other agents can attest to they've seen my home opens. Like I'm nothing fancy. I don't have big pamphlets and shiny brochures and this. Like I'm a meat and three veg agent. Like I do nothing fancy. Do I have AI doing my stuff? I don't have. Oh, they write my text, but I'm a very very basic agent. So for me to go back to basics is like just do what I'm doing anyway. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think just what I lost this year probably what I lost focus on mainly for myself was when I was transacting a large number of properties. When you get to 60 plus transactions, you probably lose focus a little bit on your clients and connecting with clients. And that's probably what I lost focus on this year. So for me, that's what it's about, like moving in, and I started it 2 months ago, 3 months ago, is just actually going back to connecting with people again rather than treating people as a transaction as a number. So that's probably my biggest change.
Just for those that are newer to real estate, James, talk us a little bit about when you are that on that treadmill, you've got so many deals happening and it's very easy to slip into transaction mode. What do you see as the long-term damage that does to your business?
Oh, it's a non-emotional thing, and buying a home and selling homes is a very happy time for people. People are blown away by what the results we're getting at the moment and how quickly things are happening. But like for us sitting here, it's just another day in the office, so it's hard to carry that same excitement as an agent that those guys. And I think just pull yourself back and go, you know what, this is actually a really exciting time for people. So yeah, I think it sounds simple, but like asking, meeting with buyers, sold stickers, like celebrations around the solds and celebrations around the contracts and celebrations at settlement time. You know, I know we'll physically have to go out and meet with people because we don't have offices, or some of us don't have, most of us don't have offices. But that key handover and settlement day is a really special day for people. And for us, if you're selling 50 plus homes a year, it's literally another week in the office. It's not a big deal. But for the clients, it's a really, really big deal. So just not losing focus on how special it is buying and selling, you know, and transacting real estate for people.
Yeah. What I have seen myself is that when agents do lose that connection, the referrals drop off,
100%, yeah.
which then means you have to work harder on the prospecting, the cold calls, rather than just, you know, balance that out a bit. Let's engage with the people a little bit more. Then the next thing is you're getting a call from the uncle, the cousin, the best friend, the guy from the club, the lady from the, you know, whatever it is. Oh, you sold my friend's house. Can you come around and talk to me about selling my house? And that's a much better call to get than, you know, some of the other kinds.
Yeah.
Guys, we are 33 minutes into it. Do we want to just go back if there's something you wanted to share that you didn't get a chance to share, just pop yourself off mute and go ahead and share that.
One thing that I wrote down a few more things.
Yeah.
Was I think today was really interesting because we're all quite different in how we run our businesses, but it seems like it's just going back to the foundations, that human contact. So I, you know, could see a repetition of that. So that pleased me, hearing everyone else. But I always have to kind of go down to ground zero again. So I'm hoping before I get on that plane, got a lot of paperwork sitting around here, that I have my office clean out, even if there's sort of stacks of things. And then it is really just taking that all in and then assessing your goals, business, balance, which I haven't done too well. Great video, by the way, Rob, on mental health.
Yeah.
So even tapping in on the burnout, because I reckon I'm probably tipping there. So I'm not letting 2025 stress me too much. What's not on there? I'm reflecting back. If I've lasted 15 years, no retainer, I'm surely going to get it, you know, okay now. And that is probably the toughest mental thing. When I review, and as it's got busier, and I forgot who mentioned it. It could have been Peter. The stuff we get bombarded with, you know, we can take so many options of prospecting, marketing. Social media does work for me, and I find that one-on-one connection, it's given me good growth. But nothing beats that contact or like getting on the phone. And if you've got something genuine to talk about, for me personally here in Mackay, it's definitely because, you know, you could have people that purchased 3 years ago in a very low time, no intention to sell, and now it's so viable for them to sell. But at the start of the year, yeah, trying to get that life balance as well before you get even busier, I think.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I think we get so caught up sometimes in the deal, you know, as the solicitors drive me nuts, the settlement agents drive me nuts, the pest inspection went south, the building inspection is gone, whatever. And it's easy to not do the things that are going to support us with our health, our mental health, and all that kind of stuff. It's easy to stress about all that instead of just going, right, I've spent enough time worried about that at the moment. Let me just go and do what's going to feed my soul. And yeah, it's good.
I don't know if anyone else agrees, but what I find myself sharing with other people and agents, the industry is so much about more, number one, number one, number one. And I think that is another thing with EXP. And I have to take myself back because when I thought, oh, should I go into EXP, I thought, how brilliant, like for my age where, you know, I'm looking at semi-retirement and you have, you know, you can work half the volume and still be earning more, but we're just totally bombarded with getting the more listings. And I find I really have to take myself back and ground myself for that. And I don't know if everyone else feels like they're bombarded with the more, more, more. Anyone else feel like it's always in real estate, more, more, more?
Well, I think that's what drives a lot of coaching. It's what drives a lot of traditional businesses is they want more and more and more. And I think, yeah, and that's fine if that's how people are wired. But some people,
Mm.
like Pete said, I don't want to do that anymore, like or whatever. And I think that's a wonderful place to be at in
Mm.
life. Know, and what Lee said, values. Know what your values are, and then you can maneuver
Yeah.
your activities around that. And if you're with James Stacy, you're just getting meat and three veg. That's what you're getting. That's and be happy with that.
I think you're absolutely right, there. I mean, you could look at it and say, well, I want to earn $1 million, but you're stressed to the max and your expenses are next level, like, I don't know, 800,000, or you could earn 500,000 very comfortably, have more profit in the bank and have more balance in your lifestyle as well.
Mm. And with the EXP model, that's what's so good.
It's
Like I
possible.
have the mentality, you just, okay, you start your anniversary. Oh, well, when can I cap?
Yeah.
Because you want to earn 100% commission.
Yeah.
And then you don't want to get lazy because then you lose the opportunity. The numbers aren't huge.
Property Group. How are you today, Tony?
No.
I'm sorry.
Nico here from Martin Property Group.
Oh, yeah, that's.
There we go. See, Lee's in
So I'll
action.
finish off and say our numbers aren't huge to achieve that, which is really great.
Yeah. No, that's very good. Thanks everyone for taking time out of your schedules to join us on iConversations this week. This has been a great session. So many really good points you guys have raised. And that's why we like to come together and do this and share. And for those of you that are moving into that, you're having some time off over the next little while. I hope you enjoy it. For those that are still on the tools, we'll be here next week. And yeah, fantastic. So we'll see you on the next iConversations.